SOS, the shout out show. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday. We are here regrouping after a very engaging, pleasant, really enjoyable weekend at Instant in Dallas. Want to give a shout out to everybody who came out, made that a success. The convention sold out. I want to give a shout out to all the scholars and the sheikhs who came out, all the nonprofits, all the charities, all the people who came from Dallas, Houston, New York, Chicago. They came to be a part of it. I also want to give a shout out to the fabulous staff at the Hilton Anatole who really worked with us to put our program together. I want to give a shout out to my comedians with the third annual Preacher Marley's Muslim Comedy Festival, Atia Yaqub, Sabine Sadiq, Marlon Hill, and of course, Moses the comic, and our trusty workers, Rich Clafford Jr. I want to give a shout out to Ahmed Khatib, my main man, Omar Durrani, and a special shout out to my man from Dallas, brother Abdul Kareem from Dallas, who came in at the last minute to help us put our backdrop together. We had a lot of parts going at that festival, and I have to say, special shout out to my mom who kept me even keel. My brother kept me even keel. All the duas. And last but not least, I want to give a shout out to Sister Tana Whitfield, who made all the logistics and the pieces work. And shout out to our printer who came and did some last minute work for us. We had some issues. And I mean, it was just a shout out. I mean, our sponsors, we got a lot of sponsors. I'll get to them in a minute, but definitely Zakat Foundation of America, M-Gage, Bayou City Staffing, Omar Kawaja, we had Tarifa Altar, we had Amana Trust Funds, we had Mate, we had Hollywood, Impact Hollywood Bureau. We had a lot of people. I think I left somebody off. Oh, Muslim Aid. We had Muslim Aid as well. So let's get to the show, man. First of all, I hope that you're doing well. That's number one. Number two is I want to frame this show, if you will, in two ways. One, it is a social statement, and two, it is a political statement. Let me say it again. One is a social statement, two is a political statement. I hope to be able to make the connection during the course of the show, but I'm encouraging everybody during this political season and in your own personal life to please invest in gratitude. What am I saying? Preach, what does invest in gratitude mean? I'm saying give yourself part of a process, a spiritual lift, but a part of a process that increases the currency of goodwill in our communities, in our families, in our personal lives. That's number one. Number two is it is a correction for a lot of the things that we're seeing. I'm going to say a couple of things on the show, and I just want you to give me a little leeway about these things, because I think they are extremely, one, important. Number two, they're relevant. They're relevant. And these are sometimes life quick fixes or hacks that sometimes we overlook. And I'm going to give a little bit of historical, personage to this whole thing, understanding about the idea of gratitude from an Islamic point of view, also from an African American point of view, an African American Muslim point of view. I hope, inshallah, to connect the dots. Okay. So, moving forward, a couple things I want to say. One, this is not pointed out to anybody. This is not, directed at anybody. This is a very large concept, but it does have merit. It does have gravitas in some of the things that I'm seeing today. At my age right now, I'm seeing where the absence of people investing in gratitude, the absence, if you will, is causing social dysfunction. It's causing problems with our families. It's causing problems with our relationships. It's causing problems in our spiritual lives that many people may not want to address, which is fine. But I think it needs to be said that particularly as we get to this point, and I'm seeing it more and more with this election process, that people are changing, that the DNA of human decency and human kindness, and somehow the value of it is somehow deteriorating. It's becoming devalued. People don't move to that in terms of my overall perspective of how I deal with people, how I treat people, how I want people to treat me. We're not looking at it in the course of a spiritual narrative, and it's having a lot of repercussions. And I want to talk about this. So don't go anywhere. This is Preacher Mars on the Shout Out Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to start the show, and I'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, we're back. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I want to give a quick shout out to Imam Jihad Muhammad in Houston, Texas, having some health issues. And he's at St. Luke's Hospital in Houston. Make sure you give him a ring, send some du'as out. If you're in the area, go visit him. Make sure you reach out to his family. Make sure that he's doing okay. Inshallah, I'll be connecting with him soon. That's number one. Shout out to our brother Bilal. You see brother Bilal Salahuddin and his lovely wife, his lovely queen, sister Sonia Dalton Salahuddin. He went through a very tough period, and I want to make sure that we acknowledge him and his family. He wasn't on the show because he was attending the janazah of his niece, and you know that's the core of what we are in terms of a podcast or live stream. Is that we're community people. It's fun to get the likes or whatever, or the views or whatever, but not necessary, because life, we call this live stream, but really it's live stream. You guys have seen me go through a lot of things on this show, and some of you have gone through a lot of personal things on this show. That's one thing. Number two, I really, really, really want to make this comment. For 2 weeks now, I have not done my Friday reminder, and people are reaching out. I just want you to know I'm okay. A Friday reminder has been a little bit difficult with the loss of my cousin and kind of dealing with end of life issues. So a Friday reminder didn't happen last Friday because it was the funeral, and this Friday we were doing the show. So I will be back on board, inshallah, full strength with Friday reminders coming this Friday. So let me give some shout outs to some folks. I got a quick comment here. Oh, yeah. I want to give a shout out also to our other sponsors, Bannock Ventures, Halal Fest, and of course, ISNA. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, Satana, for the pickup. I appreciate you. So let me get to our folks here. Shout out family, if you will. We got Sister Ree. Sister Ree, thank you so much, and appreciate your patience. Been kind of going through some stuff, but I will definitely reach out to you, inshallah. Peace and blessings to you, Derek and Juwan. I want to give a shout out to my main man, Altaf Rashid. We call him Mr. 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down. Our Canadian envoy to the show. Checking out the quality of the show, making sure we're good on this side of the border and that side of the border. What's good to see you? What's good with you, brother? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My little brother JT, better known as Johnny L. Thomas. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, little brother. Thank you so much for joining us here on the show. And we got to give, of course, a huge shout out to Sister Satana Whitfield. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings to your family and the good deeds and goodwill in this life and the next. Thank you so much for rolling with us. So let me get to the nitty gritty, I guess. Oh, we got people on the on the IG. I say salam, y'all. What's going on? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Easy Optical, my main man Mustafa. What's going on, baby? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. If you need your eyes fixed, go see Easy Optical. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good man. Asma, Alazim, Hijab, and Sneakers Joint. We appreciate everybody. Asmani, okay. All right. Horace Lee, and Sylvia Morrison, brothers and sisters, like my big sister in comedy. We had her on the show, and we need to have her back on the show again. Shake, how you doing? And oh, Sylvia, you can't get sound. I hope it's working. Big out Kareem, 93 hidden gems. Thanks to everybody. We're gonna try and. I hope the sound is working. Satana, is that sound working? Okay, Sister Sylvia, we hope it's working out. Maybe the mute button is on. I don't know. So here is the thing that I want to get to. This whole idea of investing in gratitude. I'm not saying be grateful. I'm not saying have gratitude. I'm saying invest in gratitude. I'm saying that you're taking a very progressive stance of making sure that you have gratitude in your life, in your space, in your personal choices, in your relationships. And why is it important? In 2024, I believe, as I've said, going back to when Obama was elected, that we were on this trending. We were trending to a society that was extremely mentally and spiritually unhealthy. Mentally and spiritually unhealthy. I believe the last time we were kind of sane was when Barack Obama was in office, but it had begun the trend whereby we attached value to very unhealthy things. I won't pull punches. Donald Trump was a travesty. I won't pull punches. I wasn't a big Joe Biden fan. And what happened is we got into a thing where we began to show gratitude for things that were poor choices, for things that we knew in our soul and deep in our spirits. We knew that these things were not going to produce good things, good feelings, good outcomes. And we got to a point where gratitude becomes devalued. I bring up gratitude in the scope of competition. Competition. Now, people go, what do you mean? I'm going to tell you what I mean. The problem with this election, the larger problem with this election is that the competition is not there. Let me tell you what I mean. When I say the competition is not there, what I mean is the proponents of this election seriously engage in the fact that they hope that their competitors are flawed, that their competitors mess up, make mistakes, so they can capitalize on their mistakes. Let me tell you where I'm coming from. When I was growing up, even to this day, I like hearty, fair, robust competition. This is why. Because even if I win or I lose, there is a mental space, levels to this thing that let me know that my competitor, my component, if you will, whether I beat them or lost to them, I got the best version of them. I'm getting the best version of them. There are guys in the NBA that marvel at Michael Jordan, not because he was a phenomenal athlete. He was a phenomenal athlete, an incredible competitor. He was all those things. But they say that when they played Michael Jordan, the joy, whether you beat him or lost, is that you understood that you were getting the best version of him. And what happens these days is we don't get the best version of these candidates. What do you mean, Preach? We don't get the best version of these candidates. And because of that, gratitude is missing. And when gratitude is missing, what you have is learning opportunities, spots to engage. I'm talking pro intellectual conversation is absent because everybody is focused on the end result. And the end result becomes more and more watered down. So whether it's Trump, whether it's Harris, whether it's the Green Party, whether it's independents, the product has been watered down. And we as a consumer have to sit and look in this product. And in a weird way, we have to manufacture gratitude for something that's not good. And the only way we're able to do this in many ways is that we have a spiritual connection that says we should be thankful. Maybe looking at the product isn't good reminds us that we have to produce a different kind of product, that we have to source a different type of intellect to give us the outcome that we're looking for. Over and over and over again, I think of my grandparents. And one thing that comes to mind with my grandparents is that they didn't have anything. So the idea of gratitude was not that they didn't have anything, it's just the idea that it could be less, that you could have less of nothing. And understanding the process that living in a world where laws, laws, social statutes, and even some religious dictates made sure that these people had nothing, increased the spirituality, in many regards, increased the productivity, the spirituality, and in the end, increased the success. We're missing that now. We're missing it because people want to get to an end result. You know, we don't teach gratitude. Your mother and your father says, say thank you. But the idea of being grateful is something that's internal. You have to have a modality and an ethic to do it. I think even more so that this is a microwave intention, a microwave attention society. What happens is that people think that I don't have to be grateful. And in that, they make the mistake of understanding that if you think you don't have to be grateful, what it means is that you're overlooking your shortcoming. You see, when someone helps you, it reflects that somehow, someplace, there's a shortcoming that you can't, particularly at that point in time, you can't manufacture. Say you got a box, you got an armful of packages, and you get to a door and you can't open the door because you got this armful of packages. And your choices are put the packages down, open the door, put the packages up, go through, drop all the packages, or accept the help of somebody who doesn't have packages and they simply just open the door. This is amazing, brothers and sisters, because it's small. It's small. There is this minute. It's small, but it in a way, it's a microcosm of life. That people will go to their grave with deep grudges because they refuse to acknowledge the gratitude in their life. You know, I'm a comedian. You know, you guys know me. I'm a comedian. But I'm competitive. I'm competitive. There have been times when I have been with comedians and enjoyed ourselves and we piled around and something would happen like material was stolen. That the jokes I did at this club last week somehow wind up in this comedian's act next week. Or worse, as happened to me, other comics as well. You see your joke on TV. You see it on the comedy club. You see it on BET Comic View. And you have to sit there. And the thought is, well, can I literally correct the situation while I'm watching? The answer is no. And you have to find levels to this thing. You know, I had to find levels to this thing. Otherwise, it burns you up. And what the level was, I said, that person did the joke. I said, oh man, I'm grateful to the fact that they didn't do it exactly like I do. That they didn't know all the other aspects of the joke that make it a classic, if you will. Or better the situation that make this a teaching situation while I'm on stage. It's just a joke to them, but it's a teaching situation. We don't have that now. The lack of patience, the immediacy of social media, and I hate to beat up social media, but let's get to it. Social media is a tool to make sure that you, brothers and sisters, do not focus on gratitude in your life. It's meant for you to look at other people's lives and somehow concoct these formulations in your mind that their life is better than yours, despite the fact you don't know who they are. You don't talk to them. You don't communicate with them. The best you may do is to get a DM and you may get one back. But here it is. We've created this value system that has absolutely no value unless you begin the process of devaluing what you have. See, one of the things that I've learned, and I'm going to give a shout out to this particular teacher. Her name is, and I've talked about my sixth grade teacher, Miss Alvita Jones, Seabrook Elementary School. I had her for sixth grade. One of the things I always thought was amazing about Mrs. Jones is, despite the fact that we were absolute knuckleheads, she made us at the end of the day grateful for the fact that she was willing to go the extra mile. But there were teachers in the school we knew did not want to teach us. This is back in the 70s and busing and everything. But there were teachers in the school that didn't want to teach us. And some of the teachers that taught us, they didn't want to teach us correctly. And this is a woman that taught us, one, the importance of school. Two, she reminded us that there was a whole process and people who went before us who had absolutely no access to education. And three, she reminded us, and this is important, don't take it for granted. Oh, we got some people in. Abdul Wahad Muhammad. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Beloved, how you doing, man? Brother Eric from South Kakalaki. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Got some folks on. Okay, all right. Cool. All right. So we're kind of getting into this space, and someone asked me, what does invest in gratitude means? It means that you and myself, I'm reminding myself, is that it's not enough to just put it out there. You've got to build it up. That there are levels to gratitude. You know, when I say invest, I'm saying almost like we talk about Kobe Bryant and Mamba mentality, that we have a decorum where we're talking about deliberate practice. In Islam and religious practices, you have prayer. In Islam, you got 5 prayers. And what the 5 prayers do, what they're supposed to do, and a very, very important aspect, it is a reminder that your life is incomplete. It's a reminder that your life is incomplete. And people, what do you mean? It's incomplete because you're living it. Your life is not complete until it's over. That being said, we get these very subtle reminders here and there that you don't have a framework to be grateful. That this is something you have to want to be. I'm saying invest because literally, I don't want it to sound like it's a transaction, but it is transformational because the world is lacking. Someone asked me about public school teachers. I'm going to tell you something. The reason why we have a teaching crisis, as a former teacher, the reason why we have a teaching crisis is because no one is grateful for teachers. No one extends gratitude towards teachers. I was just reading about a guy in Austin, Texas. He was a teacher. I think he's a 4th grade teacher living in Austin, Texas. He was living in his car. He had a living situation that went left. He winds up living in his car trying to be a teacher, trying to hold on to whatever he can to be able to walk into that classroom. And his story got picked up by the news, and he did a GoFundMe and things like that, and people can help him. But that's just one teacher who is already decelerated to the point whereby he's living in his car, brothers and sisters. And the solution for him, he had a place. Someone gave him a residence, but it's a room. It's not an apartment. It's not a house. We talk about this. He can't qualify for Section 8 because he's making $56,000. But in Texas, it has to be $48,000. He can't even qualify. Listen, for Section 8. The average teacher salary is almost $67,000. $67,000. Brothers and sisters, this is a shame. And the teaching industry has known this for years. But nobody invests in gratitude towards the teachers. If you're a teacher, that man made whatever, $50,000, you're going to spend at least $4,000 of that just on your students. Because the idea of education or educating students is not a priority. One of the beautiful things, and I'm going to say this, and maybe I'll get in trouble. Who cares? The youth that we deal with today have no understanding of gratitude. Some do, but a lot don't. And we've been turning out these people and these characters and these behaviors for the last 20, 25 years. If you want to look at MAGA, if you want to look at Make America Great Again, Make America Great Again means absence, absence of gratitude again. And over and over and over, people lend themselves to this because what are they being shown? If you don't listen, and you know this, if you hang out, if it's 10 people, you're one of those people, and you hang out with the other 9 people and they don't express gratitude, then guess what? There's a time and a place where you're going to be in that space and you don't do it too. Or even if you do, it's an aberration. So there's no carryover effect. In this election and in our society, even more so, the branding, and this is crazy, the branding of the president and the vice president of the United States, Harris, Walls, Vance, Trump, particularly in the Democratic Party, they're pushing joy, but they don't push gratitude. Because if you push gratitude, if you invest in gratitude, then you're going to have to take on the other aspects of people who have been shown no gratitude. People who have not been shown justice or fairness. If the Palestinian issue is an absence of gratitude. Oppression is an absence of gratitude. You know, we have these school shootings, just had one in Georgia, an absence of gratitude. And when people look at you as though you don't have value, this becomes a very, very serious and corrupting modality because it becomes the politics of the space. Now, we have examples in our midst, in our history. You know, the Martin Luther Kings, the Medgar Evers, Kennedys, the Gandhis, the Malcolm X's. We have all these things. And what they do have in common, particularly African American heroes, is that they gave everything. They literally gave everything. And you can frame their spirituality as much as you want, but they understood the coursework of being leaders. They understood the coursework of where they came from. That a Malcolm X or Muhammad Ali or Martin Luther King come from a space where they understand that this one thing, hear me now, this one thing that Jim Crow and segregation could not take from them, it was the joy of being able to have gratitude and share it with everybody. You know, I've always told the great Muhammad Ali story. I met him twice in my life. Sister Sylvia met him. I gotta have her on the show to talk about it. But the one thing, and I won't tell that story, but there's a guy named Ernest Thomas. He played Raj on What's Happening. And he tells this story of Muhammad Ali saving him. Muhammad Ali, Ernest Thomas fell into hard times, drugs, addiction, stuff like that. And somehow he and Muhammad Ali connected. Muhammad Ali would he would make sure Thomas was doing what he was supposed to do and staying off the drugs. And Ernest Thomas said that Muhammad Ali had a book, had a binder. And this particular binder had a list of all of his good deeds towards people. Now you may think, oh, he's keeping receipts. He's not keeping receipts. The binder had absolutely no value in terms of remembering good deeds. The binder reminded him that with all of these good deeds, it was still absolutely necessary to show gratitude from the person who was a king to the person who was homeless. Do you have a binder? Do you have a Muhammad Ali like binder? I try to have one. And maybe you don't have it, but it's okay. My point is, society needs us to invest in gratitude for no other reason than society in and of itself doesn't know how to save itself. That's a shout out show. I'm Preacher Moss. Invest in gratitude. See you next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shout out. Take care now.